All right, everybody, welcome to another week of the Doe and 5-0 show. Joe and I are this time shooting the show from separate locations. No more high fives and handing each other toothbrushes. Hopefully people will be getting back to work here soon. Let's go ahead and dive into the headline.
Getting back to work, did you stop going to work?
I did not, but I'm an essential employee.
I make donuts.
You're essential to me. You've been essential to a lot of people, buddy. You've been quite busy here for the last couple of weeks. Joe's been slaying it in the donut delivery business.
I have.
Good job to you and all of your employees. I know you guys have been working hard here lately. So
they've been working hard. You see what I'm doing when you come in.
Well, somebody's got to steer that train wreck, just like I steer this one every week. So
sorry.
Let's go ahead and dive into the headlines where Americans are excessively eating, drinking, smoking pot, playing video games, and, shocker, watching a lot of porn while staying at home and being quarantined. Since you're at home and under quarantine and surfing social media out of boredom, you probably have come across this coronavirus hustle porn tweet or something similar. Jeremy Haynes tweeted, if you don't come out of this quarantine with either 1, a new skill, 2, starting what you've been putting off like a new business, or 3, more knowledge, you didn't even lack the time, you lacked the discipline. Come worldwide, basically 10 million people have filed unemployment over the last couple of weeks in March. It's predicted that the Federal Reserve Bank that nearly 50 million people will lose their jobs by summertime due to this pandemic. A lot of people are worried about their finances and whatnot, but I don't know if you've seen some of these inspirational things people are putting on their social media accounts where, you should learn a new skill, you should, do those things around the house maybe that you've been neglecting, or spend more time reading a book or whatever. Basically, people telling you how to occupy your time while you're being quarantined at your own homes. Apparently, Americans have decided that, based on some random poll here, that they are excessively eating, drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, playing video games, and watching a whole lot of porn while they're spending their quality time at home.
I'm doing none of that stuff. I'm really out of the loop.
You're still working, so.
Yeah, I guess, but even bored, I wouldn't do any of that stuff.
Get this, Joe. During the week of March 16th, United States consumers streamed 156.1 billion minutes of content streaming online. That's your Netflix, YouTube, things like that. 30% of that streaming was Netflix alone. And a lot of people were watching the new hit series on Netflix called Tiger King. Have you seen that or heard anything of it? Or
I've heard you guys talking about it, but I have.
It's quite the train wreck that you just can't stop watching it. You may not even like it, but you just can't stop watching it. So
kind of like those couple people I follow on Facebook.
Yeah. So Americans apparently are using their time wisely while stuck at home, according to that poll there.
Yes, they are.
Moving on, doctors are warning people, Joe, not to put frozen potatoes in their anus.
Wait. I'm going to grab a notebook real quick and write that down because I don't want to forget that.
It's a good tip. Good tip.
Roasted potatoes?
Frozen.
Frozen potatoes.
Frozen.
Are roasted potatoes okay then?
They might be a little easier coming in and out, maybe. I don't know.
I need more information, Lee.
Well, doctors have issued a warning against putting frozen potatoes in your anus. This comes as an increasing...
Thank God the doctors, you had experts that tell you not to do that.
This comes as an increasing number of hemorrhoid sufferers have reportedly taken to the internet to seek alternative solutions to their problem instead of consulting doctors. Now, it has emerged that altogether an unusual solution is being touted online that inserting frozen potatoes into your anus for 30 minutes is the answer. Per Wales Online, one article claims, here's what you need to do. Peel a raw potato and cut it into thin slices like you do for French fries. Put the slices into the freezer and wait until they are frozen. You will then insert the frozen potato slice into your anus and leave it inside for 30 seconds. Repeat the process.
Lee, this is something that you and I would come up with in the back of the bakery.
Just to see who would fall for it. I can think of a couple people already.
There's somebody doing it right now.
Somebody's going to watch this and they're going to try it because they're sick bastards. Repeat the process for 3 to 5 days. The next 3 to 5 days, leave the slice inside for 30 seconds more each time you do it. The article continues that the potatoes have strong properties that help relieve the pain and itchy sensation that comes with hemorrhoids. and the ice-cold potato constricts the blood vessels, reduces the swelling, and relieves your pain instantly. However, professional medical doctors have warned against this novel solution. Dr. Diana Gall, the leading online medical service Doctor for You, said potatoes can be irritating. Piles can be an irritating condition, and sufferers are sometimes too embarrassed to seek professional help, turning to old wives' tales instead. The doctor continues, there is no medical evidence that putting frozen potatoes inside of your anus can help cure the problem. They will often go away on their own after a few days, but there are some true and trusted ways to keep them at bay. She continues to say you should drink plenty of fluids and maintain a fiber-rich diet and try having regular warm baths to ease the itching and pain. And for the love of God, please don't put potatoes up your butthole.
That's a part of my body that's exit only. There's all these stories, especially out of Florida. It seems like there's a lot of shit that goes, well, no pun intended, that goes in there instead of out of there.
Out of Sacramento, California, sheriff says hit-and-run suspect was found tied to a telephone pole at the scene of the alleged crime. That's quite unfortunate for him. Deputies say a man who struck a person with his vehicle, drove away, was found hours later tied to a telephone pole at the scene of the crime. The incident happened last Friday around 4:30 p.m. in Valley Springs. The Calaveras County Sheriff's Office said 29-year-old Thomas Bechtold was arguing with 47-year-old James Leslie at the intersection of Knoll Street and West Hill Road. Bechtold reportedly got into his vehicle and hit Leslie, knocking him unconscious. Bechtold then drove off from the scene. 3 hours later, the sheriff's office got a report that the suspect had been dropped off at the same intersection. Deputies found Bechtold battered with his hands tied behind his back and tethered to a telephone pole. He was arrested on charges of attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, battery with serious injury, and felony hit and run. He's currently being held on a $2,195,000 bail at the county jail.
Wow.
Anyone with information about who tied him to the telephone pole is encouraged to contact the sheriff's office. It must have been Batman. There's cameras everywhere. I'm finding it hard to believe that there wasn't something that caught. Yeah, he could have just tied him there like that. Surely it took him a couple minutes to lasso the guy up in time to the pole.
There's footage someplace, and it'll be on Facebook eventually.
That would have been quite the entertaining scene to roll up to there.
Dang it. Wish we could have had that on the show.
Suspect drops wallet during Castle Pines bank robbery, and police seek the person who took the suspect's wallet. Out of Castle Pines, Colorado, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office is asking the person who picked up a wallet dropped by a man robbing a bank to contact them. Around 11:50 a.m. Monday, a robbery occurred at the U.S. Bank inside King Scoopers in Castle Pines. Witnesses reported seeing the suspect drop a wallet, and then another citizen walks by and picked up the wallet. The sheriff's office would like to talk to the person who picked up the wallet because that properly identifies the actual bank robber. So bank robber robs the bank, and then another dirtbag comes and picks up the bank robber's wallet and walks away with it.
We've talked about this before, that I always thought that criminals just always get caught because, the good beats the evil and stuff like that. But what I've discovered after all these stories that you've read is evil loses because it's stupid. So if I'm going to rob a bank, I'm not bringing any sort of identification with me. I'm not driving my car. I'm not taking any of my friends. I'm not going to have my Joe for President shirt on.
Yeah. Stupid just follows with stupid. It never fails.
I can't believe somebody just picked it up and walked off with it.
They probably found that there was no cash in the wallet and dumped it in the next closest dumpster.
Yep, they didn't care about the ID or anything. Or they stole the guy's identity and they're ruining his credit right now.
Yeah.
and he's got to wait 3 to 5 years to call in all these places to get it straightened out.
Gonna go back to some anus talk, Joe, where a smart toilet can read your anus like a fingerprint. If you're looking for a very personalized data about your bathroom habits, you no longer have to look any further. Scientists at Stanford University have developed a smart toilet that can identify people based on their butt and monitor the health of their poop and their pee. The smart toilet, which the Stanford team published an article about this week in the Nature Biomedical Engineering Publishings was designed as a continuous health monitoring device, much like a smartwatch. So you got to strap this thing to your ass and walk around with it all day. No, here you go.
It tells you how many times you passed gas today. It rates them.
It uses cameras and motion. You got a camera. It uses cameras and motion sensors to identify a range of disease markers in your stool and urine, including colon cancer and prostate cancer. When I bring it up, people sort of laugh because it seemed like an interesting idea, but also a bit odd, you don't say. According to the lead researcher, everyone uses the bathroom. There's no avoiding it, and that enhances its value as a disease-detecting device. It also has a built-in identification system. The smart toilet's flush lever is equipped with a fingerprint reader, and the cameras in the toilet bowl can identify people's butts. We know it seems weird, but as it turns out, your anal print is very unique. The toilet is still in the early stages, and it isn't meant to replace a doctor or a diagnosis, but rather to alert users red flags that could warrant future medical attention.
Ooh, I'm going to get one.
Just what I want, a camera facing my butthole. They call those scopes. You usually have to pay for those in a surgery center. Once you reach a certain age, you got to have that camera stuck up your...
I know. I'm at that age that they're supposed to be doing that, but I'm still a virgin.
You can now keep warm with a penis-shaped hot water bottle, Joe.
No, I can't. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest Christmas present for loved ones, coworkers, Secret Santas, and even people you don't like is finally here. Yes, there won't be any blue balls this Christmas, thanks to the cheeky penis-shaped hot water bottle that is just not hilarious to look at, but it's also practical. Available from the website Firebox, the penis hot water bottle is guaranteed to keep you nice and cozy on even the coldest winter days. It's also described as an ironic way to soothe period cramps. It arrives in salmon pink color. The hot water bottle measures 60 centimeters in height, 39.6 centimeters in width, and 3.8 centimeters in diameter, meaning it is certainly big enough to put a smile on your face. The official description on the website of Firebox says, "Are you chilly at night? Don't have a hunk to keep you warm in bed? We feel you. Shiver no more, frigid friends. This hot water bottle will keep your willy toasty, even in the coldest of temperatures. He's no use when he's all floppy, so fill him up with hot water before getting tucked up. Professional tip, tuck him down your pants to experience the thrill of having your very own obscenely large, hot, he's not just for show. It turns out the humble penis is a perfect shape for a hot water bottle, distributing that lovely warmth sideways through the balls and lengthwise through the shaft. Just ignore this little weird face and be thankful that real penises don't have them. Mind you, if you were with a man who had a schlong that big, its little grin would be the least of your problems." The product currently holds a 5 out of 5 stars from its customers, with one review saying the meat with the heat arrived bigger than expected.
You know what's funny about a story like that is you read a lot of stories like that, and I laugh, and I think they're funny. But for some reason, when I'm facing you, it disturbs me a lot more.
Maybe I'll just put a picture of the bottle over my face when I do the editing later. I've been called worse before anyway. A man arrested after a fire breaks out at a U-Haul. Out of Eugene, Oregon, a raging fire broke out last night at the U-Haul on River Road, but police say the story behind how the fire got started is even flashier than the flames themselves. Sergeant Stotts with Eugene PD said all this started with a dispute between a man and a woman in a U-Haul parking lot. Stotts said the man was in a vehicle and threw a lit firework at the woman standing outside the vehicle. While she ducked for cover, the firework burst into sparks and the man drove off. Unbeknownst to the man and woman, the thief was underneath one of the other U-Hauls stealing gasoline. Sparks from the fireworks flew near the gasoline, and 4 of the U-Hauls burst into flames, with the thief catching on fire as well. The gasoline thief and the woman both ran from the scene, with the thief running away with his pants and sleeves on fire. Police said once they arrived, the owner of the U-Haul showed up. It was able to pull the security footage that depicted the scene described above. Stott said the footage was clear enough for them to see the license plate of the man who threw the firework, and they were able to arrest the man at his nearby home before the fire was completely cleared. He has been charged with reckless endangering, criminal mischief, and that's it for now. As for the gasoline thief, the police have not been able to locate him. They did speak to the woman who the man threw the firework at, but police said she did not want to be involved and cooperate with any further investigation.
That's nice of her.
So just all kinds of stuff going wrong there at the U-Haul facility.
What state was that in? California?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerously close to California.
That might be our first Oregon story. I don't know if we've ever done anything there from it. It's time for Florida, Joe. You ready for Florida?
Gonna miss the song.
No song this week. No song this week.
We can do the song. Pop-Tarts and anuses and naked Walmart people, drugs. There you go. Go ahead.
After cops say a cashier was battered over social distancing beef with a Dollar Tree customer. After a Dollar Tree cashier chided him for cutting the checkout line and failing to respect the current social distancing rules, a Florida man began striking the female employee, according to cops, who arrested the unruly customer on a felony battery charge. Police say that Stefan Finelli, age 55, was at the discount store Friday when he got into an argument with Natasha Chajajani. An arrest affidavit states that the dispute was prompted when Finelli skipped the line and the cashier placed his items in front of other customers' items. When Chajani asked Finelli to return to the rear of the line, he reportedly became irate. Chajani, cops say, also requested for the defendant to respect the current social distancing rules, which he was not practicing. When Chajani then attempted to move Finelli's items from the checkout line, Finelli began striking the victim. With both arms, he pushed her in the chest, both arms and hands. An officer noted that upon reviewing the surveillance video shows Finelli strike the victim in the arm. Additionally, the witness told police that she saw Finelli push the Dollar Tree worker multiple times. Finelli is now locked up in the Shocker Pinellas County Jail in lieu of a $2,500 bond, and he now has a no contact order with the victim.
You know, we always talk about pushing our show in certain areas. You know where we need to push this.
Yeah. Well, moving on, an inmate passes gas. The cellmate complains, and then there was a stomping, according to the police report. He who smelt it got dealt with. Florida Keys inmate sent his cellmate to the hospital Monday night for complaining about him stinking up the cell by first passing gas and then using the toilet. Guilford Joseph Abshire, age 53, listed as homeless in Key West, was arrested on charges of aggravated battery by a person detained in a jail. Abshire left his cellmate at the Stock Island Detention Center with 3 broken ribs and a broken nose, according to the arrest report. Abshire said a cellmate attacked him for causing a stink in the toilet, and he merely defended himself. Police did notice bruised knuckles. The deputy said he witnessed Abshire stomping on the chest of Roger Wanstetler, age 62, of Sugarloaf Key. Wanstetler told police he got upset after Abshire farted in the cell, and then at 7:30 p.m. made the situation worse by then using the toilet. Roger said the smell was overwhelming and that he asked Abshire to give him a courtesy flush. That's when Abshire kicked Wanstetler, who was on the bottom bunk at the time, and then picked him up by the throat and threw him across the cell. Abshire kicked Wanstetler in the face and torso until deputies intervened. Abshire was in jail for misdemeanor battery arrest on April 3rd that left him with a $5,000 bond. He's now being held without zero bond. Wanstetler is in jail on a probation violation, is being held without bond. He was taken to Lower Keys Medical Facility for treatment. Inmates do share small rooms at the jail that contain a single exposed toilet. That does like privacy. These men are no longer cellmates, obviously. So apparently his future cellmates need to learn to not just use the toilet or pass gas.
That was a heartwarming story.
You know, when I was in prison.
Boy, does that sound familiar?
Dog steals owner's sex toy and uses it as a chew toy. This is one of the links I sent you, Joe. A dog owner was lost for words after spotting her 4-legged pal cuddled up on the couch with her sex toy. Hallie Papson from Jacksonville, Florida, said she walked into her living room to find her dog, Dammit Bobby, yep, that's his name, had used her dildo as a chew toy before cuddling up to it and having a little lie down. 24-year-old
Hallie, that she would tell anyone this story.
Well, she even has pictures.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's why I sent you the link so you can see it. Anyway, 24-year-old Hallie said she and her husband James must have had a sex toy out on the bed, but didn't think the dog would pop in and steal it, much less use it as a chew toy. Hallie explained that her adopted pooch loves chew toys and had been in a few weeks since she'd been treated into one. So this may be his way of letting her know he needs some new toys. After laughing at finding a poor little Dammit Bobby in such an unusual predicament, she then turned to get the toy off of him, but he was having none of it and ran off with the toy in his mouth. Hallie, who's a professional poker player, said, I got out of the shower and went into the living room to see Damn It Bobby chewing on something on the couch. Then I realized what exactly it was. He had stolen the toy from my bedroom and had it between his paws, going to town.
He seems proud.
The pictures are quite disturbing. Hawaii mayor says Florida man flouting quarantine was a COVIDiot. I like that, COVIDiot. A mayor in Hawaii is calling a Florida man accused of trying to flout Hawaii's traveler quarantine as a COVIDiot. Hawaii Mayor Derek, come on, you want to lay me, isn't taking credit for coining the word born from the COVID-19 pandemic that said he may be the first elected official to bust it out in public. Bobby Edwards of Boynton Beach, Florida, was arrested last week after police say he landed on the island without proof of having accommodations set up. Hawaii's statewide order requires people arriving to the islands to self-quarantine for 14 days. Edwards was exhibiting belligerent behavior towards airport personnel and towards officers during his arrest. Police added that Edwards, age 31, was showing significant signs of intoxication and was not being cooperative. So why did they even let this guy fly? This is like the second time. We just did a story, was it last week or the week before, where that guy was drunk and he got on the plane, and once they landed, they ended up tasing the crap out of him.
Yeah, 10 times. He said, watch what'll happen or something like that if you tase me. Go ahead and tase me. I remember that.
Okay.
And people hung around the plane just want to watch.
Hold on, I'm not in a big hurry to get off this time.
Yeah, why? If they see they're drunk already, why are they allowed on? I didn't think you could be on there if you were drunk.
I don't know. Flagler County woman placed 400 pamphlets, porn-filled Easter eggs in strangers' mailboxes, deputies say. Mommy, what's this?
That's funny.
Out of Flagler County, Florida, Flagler County deputies arrested a woman they said placed Easter eggs with explicit images in strangers' mailboxes. Deputies were alerted to the behavior of 42-year-old Aberil Sistoni Wednesday evening after they received multiple calls that she was allegedly placing eggs in mailboxes. She later admitted to placing the images in the mailboxes that she was educating people, according to the sheriff's office. Our team did a great job in tracking this deranged offender down and taking her into custody, said Sheriff Ricky Staley. Thankfully, she did not appear to be sick with COVID-19 symptoms, but she certainly needs some help. Investigators said Sistoni told them she gave out more than 400 pamphlets inside of the Easter eggs. The eggs were found to have a cracker in the shape of a fish, one sheet of toilet paper, a powdered drink mix, a crumpled up piece of paper containing pornographic images. Sistoni was arrested and charged with 11 counts of distributing obscene material. Additional charges may be pending as the investigation continues.
She said she wanted to educate people, but she apparently didn't read that story that you started out with about how much porn everyone's watching.
Hey, did you see today, after all this time, Obama finally endorsed Biden today?
Yeah, I saw a meme, and Obama's sitting by Biden. He said, well, I've decided to endorse you. And Biden looks at him and said, for what?
Who are you? Are you Bill Cosby? You got any more of that roofie stuff? Democrat-run Baltimore takes back hazard pay, threatens to reduce officer salary, and even lay off or furlough police officers. Out of Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is arguably the third most dangerous city in the United States, according to CBS News. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the mayor of the city, Bernard Jack Young, has literally begged citizens to hold off committing violent crimes, specifically shooting each other, so that first responders can focus on fighting the virus. Would you care to guess whether the criminal portion of the citizens have acknowledged this guy's request?
My guess would be no.
A resounding no. Recently, the city began offering Baltimore PD a form of hazard pay to its officers because of their daily exposure to the coronavirus. Not only did the city decide to take that hazard pay back, but they are also now asking for even more from their officers. According to the FOP Lodge number 4 out of Baltimore, there is no shelter in place for a first responder. While we are all struggling through this unprecedented crisis, please keep those on the front line. First responders, nurses, doctors, and those integral to our supply chain, you're in our thoughts and prayers. The FOP president, Sergeant Mike Mancuso, said that he and other union presidents attended a city hall meeting to discuss the economic deficits created by COVID-19, specifically to address a large loss of revenue. The city expects to lose $103 million for the first fiscal year of 2021. To help with that, the city is attempting to recover $11 million in savings from personal spending. The city offered up 3 options for Baltimore police to consider accepting. Mancuso outlined the options in a letter to his membership, which were as follows. Option 1, freeze all salaries at the FY20 amount and forego collectively bargained raises. This option would eliminate 3% salary increase due to our members on July 1st of 2020 that was bargained for in good faith by the FOP and the city back in 2018. Option number 2 is for unit members who receive either 4, 5, or 6 furlough days, depending on the salary. Because our members are essential employees, you would be required to work and suffer a salary reduction for the total amount of furlough days. Option 3 would be the option would eliminate pay freezes and furlough days. However, it would include 173 layoffs of full-time employees. Layoffs would include non-essential employees currently on permission leave with specialized in public safety functions, such as the Mounted Patrol Unit, Marine Unit, and traffic units. Clearly, this is not ideal. The city had offered its officers hazard pay, recognized that they're putting themselves in extra unique danger in addition to the normal danger officers face on a regular basis anyway. And
especially in the third most dangerous city.
After recognizing the danger, they then step in and not only take that money back, but serve an extra slap in the face by asking them to give up what they bargained for over 2 years ago. And then the mayor gives them an option of basically they have to work their days off and not even get paid. Not even get paid.
That's. Did the mayor offer to take a pay cut to help with this situation?
That is not mentioned in the article, so I'm going to guess.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. I bet everybody there, I bet all the officials there offered to take a big pay cut to help the situation, because that's how they are.
Yeah, so he's either wanting to take cops off the road or overwork his already depleted force, because guys are dropping like flies there, just like they were anywhere else with the COVID-19. As in 2019, they had record highs for homicide, shootings, carjackings. So less than a year ago, all their major crimes are on a rise.
So the best thing to do in this situation,
piss them off and take away what little money they make. So.
But now the mayor did ask everybody to stop shooting each other. So.
Job well done, Mayor. Job well done.
Did he say please?
I don't know.
That's probably who might have done it. Maybe a pretty please or something.
Yeah. Last thing we're going to touch on today. This was a pretty good write-up. You sent it to me. I've seen it multiple times, and it speaks true to me and the world that we live in today, the climate that we're seeing on a regular basis. We're living in a bizarre world.
And I found it. I didn't write this. I don't want anyone to think I was this clever.
No. Joe forwarded this to me, and then shortly after you sent it, I started seeing it all over the place. So, I mean, I don't know who wrote it. It doesn't say who wrote it. But it touches on a lot of things that we're seeing in the world today. If a guy pretends to be a woman, you're required to pretend with him. Somehow it's un-American for the census to count how many Americans are actually in America. Russians influencing our elections are bad, but illegal immigrants voting in our elections are good. It was cool for Joe Biden to blackmail the president of Ukraine, but it's an impeachable offense if Donald Trump inquires about it. 20 is too young to drink a beer, but 18 is old enough to vote.
And to die for your country. You can die for your country at 18, but no beer.
Joe didn't have any beer at 18 when he's in the military. Don't worry.
Well, it was legal then.
He didn't have any beer when he was in middle school in Wisconsin either.
Grade school.
Grade school. Middle school, you were a late bloomer, right?
Yeah. Nerd.
Sexualizing children is bad, but 11-year-old drag queens are cool. Illegals aren't required to show identification, but citizens can't buy cough medicine without it. Citizens are fine if they don't buy their own health insurance, and then they are forced to buy it for illegal aliens. People who have never owned slaves should pay slavery reparations to people who have never been slaves.
I thought that one was funny.
We've touched on that before. Inflammatory rhetoric is outrageous, but harassing people in restaurants is virtuous. People who have never been to college should pay for the debts of college students who took out huge loans for useless degrees. Immigrants with tuberculosis and polio are welcome here, but you better be able to prove your dog is vaccinated. That's true. Irish doctors and German engineers who want to immigrate must go through a rigorous vetting process. But any illiterate Central American gangbanger who jumps the southern fence is more than welcome here. $5 billion for border security is too much money, but $1.5 trillion for free health care for illegals most certainly is not. If you cheat to get into college, you go to prison. But if you cheat to get into the country, you go to college for free. Politicians who say that the president is not above the law, but put illegal immigrants and themselves above the law. People who say there's no such thing as gender are demanding a female president.
That's funny too.
Yeah. Illegals don't pay taxes, but they do get tax refunds. We see other countries going socialist and collapsing, and it seems like a great plan to the United States now. Voter suppression is bad, but not allowing the president to be on the ballot is good. 4th of July parades are bad, but parades of women dressed in vaginas are good.
That's just weird.
Cincinnati.
You're still scarred by that, aren't you?
I am scarred. 4th of July parades are bad. That's what we just talked about. Some people are held responsible for things that happened before they were born, and now other people are not held responsible for what they're doing right now. Criminals are caught and released to hurt more people, but stopping them is bad. And pointing out that all of this hypocrisy, thank you, somehow makes you a racist. So this all speaks true, and we've talked about that last one where we're talking about people getting released. We're seeing the jails are not, and I'm not saying it's that way everywhere, but it's a growing trend across the United States where they've got the bail reform laws already going into places where they're letting out criminals, and now it's even intensified more because of the coronavirus, where we're going to let out our lower level offenders and release them into the public. And we'd really appreciate it if you don't bring criminals into our jails, because we don't want our criminals to catch the coronavirus. But screw Joe Public, who's not done anything wrong his entire life. And the country's messed up right now.
Whatever happened to what are they called? Chain gang, stuff like that. How come, like at the jail here, how come they don't have them work on the roads and stuff like that?
I don't know. I know that DOC, at least during the spring and summertime, and and they probably have restrictions now because of the coronavirus, but I do see DOC doing stuff like that during the nicer weather months.
Okay.
As far as county goes, I don't know if that's something they do. I've not noticed it before. I know they have what they call trustees that will sometimes go out and do stuff like cleaning out cars in the garage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they maybe do some work on I don't know if maybe they're the ones that take care of the land or not outside of there. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff speaks true. I mean, whether it hurts your feelings to hear it or not, or you don't agree with it, it's true. I mean, all of these things are true. You see it every day. You read about it every day. And if you don't agree with it, then I'm sorry, but you're just blind. You are. So, home of a lot of stupid freaking people right now, in my opinion. Stupid people making stupid laws and trying to run this country into the ground. So, we've talked about socialism, I don't know how many times, and we seem to be the radical liberal party seems to be pushing more and more towards it every single chance they get. And I don't get. Are
there any countries out there that are socialists that are doing well?
No. Well, why would a socialist country do well?
I don't know what they're using as a model, because they must be.
I'm telling you right now, they could use Nazi Germany as their model. And because the mainstream media is telling these mindless sheep out here that this is the way to be, they're just going to go with it. They're too stupid to think for themselves. So many people are too ignorant to think for themselves and not see how dangerous and reckless that is. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy.
I just think it's odd that they don't have some sort of model that they're
they don't need a model, because they know that they're mindless sheep followers. Okay, Joe. Okay, Hillary. Okay, Barack. Okay, CNN. That's the way it's supposed to be. I'll vote for you. But chances are they won't vote, because they're going to be too damn lazy to get out of their house. So until they can start voting on Facebook, they're not going to give a rat's ass. So
I'll tell you, I was pretty surprised that Bernie didn't get a lot more support.
Yeah.
Because he had he had all this money coming in, all these people, but where were all the voters?
Well, we see
he
that.
lost it pretty early.
Voter turnout's not. I mean, it seems to be it's been on a decline for decades. It seems like it seems to be getting lower and lower for.
Right, but this would be like Trump won because people showed up.
Right.
And so I'm kind of surprised that the what do they call the Bernie Sanders followers? Be nice.
The shits.
But anyway, that I thought they would show up in force, and I thought they were the people that really weren't voting most of the time. So I really believe that he was going to make a strong appearance on the ballot, and I was surprised that Biden. But I honestly don't trust the whole process.
Right.
I knew from the start that the Democrats wanted Biden to win, and I knew he would win. I wouldn't doubt for a second that all this stuff was fixed.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting when the election time rolls around. We've talked about that before, where Joe's slipping, man. He's slipping, and
I feel bad for the guy.
There's got to be
something wrong.
There's got to be a master game plan with the Democratic Party there. I think they obviously have all.
Wait a minute. Have you been watching the party? There's no master plan. There's no plan.
Well, the master plan will be for Joe to be suicided, and
if he asked for Hillary to be his vice president,
yeah,
the man's dead. He's just dead.
In a shocking turn of events, Chelsea Clinton is going to be the vice president on the ticket.
And all three of them moved back into the White House.
Let the redneck games begin.
Do you think a bunch of Republicans will start stomping their feet and swearing that they're going to move to Canada if Joe Biden wins?
No, not all. All right, well, I can hear the chaos coming back in, so it's time to wrap things up. So that's all we got for this week's show, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
See you later.
That was advertising.